Okay, so here we have my version of an Estaz fly. You see these all over the Salmon River. People buy these to float fish them, bottom bounce them for steelhead. Steelhead love these things. These are like candy for a steelhead. So I'm going to show you how to tie them. It's a pretty quick, pretty easy tie, and cannot believe how effective these things can be. So you start with your hook. I use a size 10, a fast strike PowerPoint. Hope you can read that there. You want your hooks to be strong. You do not want your hook to bend out. These fish are definitely stronger than you think. Your thread, I usually use a little thicker thread. This is a chartreuse. It is a 3/0. You start your thread wraps just behind the eye, and once you've got down like 5/6, you cut that off pretty close. And then what I do is I wrap all the way down the shank, then I go back up towards the eye a little bit, and then I go back down and end up somewhere in the middle. This basically provides a thread base for your material so it's not spinning all over the bare metal of the hook. The first thing you want to do is tie in your tail. I use Crystal Flash here. This is optional. Some people do not tie the tails. You will see these flies mostly without the tail. So you don't need the tail. I just like the tail. I think it works great. I think it gives them something else to look at, triggers some kind of bite in the fish. They've worked great for me, so this is how I tie them. You take about, I don't know, 6 to 8 pieces of the Crystal Flash. You want to place it evenly on the top of the hook shank. Once you get a few turns down, you can start to tighten as you go back. And then what you do is you bend back this extra here, snip that off close. There's your tail. Now what I do is I go back with my thread, and right before it starts to turn, what I do is I go under. I pull it up like that, the flash, then go back over the top. I do this a couple times just to secure the tail. And what it also does is it will lift that material just off of the metal, the steel, or whatever, the hook where it's curved. It kind of picks it up off. I think it gives a better presentation. I'm probably not explaining that right. Just again, it's a better presentation, and with fishing, presentation is everything. Then what I do is take some of this chartreuse cactus chenille, and what you do is you cut off. For one fly, you only need about a 2-inch piece right there. What you do is you tie this in about halfway down the shank. You will see inside of the strand there is a white thread. It's really hard to see, but there's a white thread in there that holds this all together. Everything is tied to that one white thread. You want to try to get that secured in the middle of your hook shank here. And what you do, it's very simple. You just pretty snugly, don't crank on this super tight, but you want to be pretty snug with your wraps. What I do is I go around 3 times, and then you pull it. What you do is you pull it forward, and then keeping your thread behind that hook eye, you secure it down tight, right behind the hook eye. And then with your scissors, you just cut this off. You cut that off close, and you want to be careful. You do not want to cut this thread, which is just hanging there. It's just a pain in the ass. You got to start all over. So just be careful there. Then what I do is I take the material, I fold it back as best I can. I get a couple wraps in behind that eye. You want to keep that clear of thread and material, and then all you do is whip finish. Um, you only need a couple turns with this thicker thread. Again, staying away from that eye. That thread it's like a magnet. It just wants to go to it. So you do 3 wraps, pull that down tight, cut this off close, and you are good to go. These things work great. Again, very, very easy to tie. And there's not much to them, but man, they are effective. So Couple key points. You want to keep your materials kind of away from this whole gap here from your shank to the hook point, because when a fish bites these, you want that to be clear so you can dig in on that jaw and then hang on for dear life. And again, like I said, these are mainly what I use for steelhead. You can bottom bounce them. You can drop them under a float, whatever technique you like to use. Hope you like the video. If you like what you saw, subscribe to the channel and leave comments too, good or bad. Would love to hear from anybody out there. And tight lines, everybody.